In the dense forests and icy plains of North America, wolves rely less on brute strength and more on coordinated strategy. Every move is carefully calculated, shaped by patience and meticulous planning. Confrontations aren't always resolved quickly, but the constant pressure from the pack begins to shift the balance. In these encounters, timing and unity determine the final outcome. In the forests and prairies of North America, gray wolves rely on hunting instincts honed over thousands of years of evolution. An adult can weigh from 70 to over 110 pounds, but their true strength lies not in size, but in their ability to coordinate as a pack. They move silently, maintain distance, and observe prey for minutes before deciding to approach. Wolves don't pounce immediately. They test the prey's reaction, assessing its speed, stamina, and signs of weakness. When the chase begins, the goal isn't an instant attack, but to disrupt the prey's rhythm and deplete its energy. In nature, the wolf's hunting instinct is a combination of patience, strategy, and precise teamwork. On the edge of a clearing in the forest, the bear was feeding in a clearly possessive manner. With a body that could weigh over 400 pounds, it didn't want to leave its food source and had no reason to retreat. The bear's instinct in this situation wasn't to chase, but to hold its position and protect its resources with overwhelming presence. The pack of wolves appeared from multiple directions, but didn't charge immediately. They moved in a wide circle, creating a soft encirclement to exert psychological pressure. Each wolf approached, and then retreated, testing the bear's reaction and level of aggression. A distance was always maintained to avoid casualties should the situation spiral out of control. The bear responded with a powerful growl and slowly advanced. It stood firm, displaying its size and strength instead of attacking directly. The moment the growl echoed and the slight movement forward was enough to disrupt the wolves' rhythm, causing their formation to begin to spread and their will to approach to diminish. Eventually, the wolves retreated in small groups. This wasn't a defeat of strength, but a risk-based decision. Confronting a single, overwhelmingly larger individual without being forced to move came at too high a cost. In nature, sometimes wisdom lies in knowing when to stop. In the fall, in the open forest valleys, bull elks survive thanks to their large size, broad antlers, and considerable stamina. While in the herd, they maintain a firm position and react quickly to danger. But once separated from the group, their defensive advantage begins to diminish with each movement. The The wolf pack stalks from a distance, selecting its target after minutes of observation. When the herd panics and spreads out, a bull elk slows down and becomes isolated. The wolves accelerate to nearly 35 to 40 miles per hour in short bursts, closing in from both sides to create constant pressure. Initially, the elk remains strong and responds with powerful antler kicks. However, the alternating approaches force it to constantly shift and rapidly deplete its energy. There is no immediate decisive attack, but rather a gradual wear and tear through the chasing and encirclement. The hunt ends when stamina can no longer be maintained. The wolf's victory doesn't come from a single moment, but from accumulated pressure and precise coordination. In nature, even the most majestic individual can fall when separated from the group and faced with the pack's persistent tactics. On the windswept tundra, musk oxen survive thanks to their unique collective defense instincts. When danger is detected, the entire pack quickly forms a tight circle, heads facing outwards, with the ox in the center. In this formation, their horns and thick fur create an almost impenetrable wall of protection. The wolf pack attempts to approach, moving swiftly around the defensive circle to find a gap. However, each attempt is met with a simultaneous reaction from the lowered horns. Unable to reach the ox, the wolves are forced to change tactics and wait for an opportunity when an individual separates from the group. When a lone musk ox is pushed away, the rhythm of the confrontation changes. It counterattacks fiercely with direct headbutts, forcing the wolves to take turns attacking and giving it no time to rest. But this constant defense quickly depletes its energy. As the musk ox's reaction slowed, the wolf gradually closed in, applying sustained pressure. The confrontation demonstrated that the musk ox's strength lies in its formation, not in individual attacks. When the circle is broken, the advantage shifts to the more patient one. In the harsh natural environment, cohesion determines survival chances more than any single counterattack. On the edge of the jungle, wild boars survive thanks to their quick reflexes, thick skin, and sharp tusks capable of inflicting serious injury. When threatened, they don't run far but readily turn to face the attack. However, when surrounded, their defensive advantage begins to be tested. The pack of wolves forms a wide circle, gradually limiting escape routes. One wolf approaches to provoke a reaction, forcing the boar to charge with a powerful butt that can send its opponent flying. Immediately after that moment, the others close in from both sides, biting at the legs and hips to gradually reduce its mobility. The confrontation drags on in high tension. A single mistake can severely injure the wolves. But thanks to close coordination and constant pressure, the boar gradually weakens and loses its counterattack advantage. Victory comes from persistence and precise calculation, not from individual strength. On the edge of a snow-covered mountainside, the mother wolverine held her position near the entrance of the den, on high alert. Weighing only about 30 to 40 pounds, she was renowned for her fierce territorial instincts and remarkable endurance. Upon spotting a wolf approaching with the intention of probing, she didn't retreat further into the den, but chose to confront it directly. The wolf approached slowly, lowering its head and seeking a favorable angle to get close. But the wolverine suddenly lunged forward, launching an attack to disrupt the approach. A barrage of scratches and bites at close range forced the wolf to maintain distance and always keep an escape route open. The wolf had the advantage of size and could easily overwhelm the wolf if it accepted the higher risk. However, each close approach carried the risk of injury to the leg or face, which could affect the entire pack in subsequent hunts. As the wolf continued its relentless, unwavering charge, its ferocity began to erode the wolf's confidence. Eventually, the wolf gradually retreated from the burrow entrance. This wasn't a defeat in strength, but a choice to avoid unnecessary losses. In nature, smaller individuals sometimes maintain their position through determination and the ability to make their opponents reconsider the cost. On the vast grasslands of North America, bison survive by their close-knit pack. When standing close together, they form a solid defensive circle where each individual is protected by collective strength. In this state, predators rarely find clear opportunities. The wolf pack is not in a hurry. They move around the edge of the pack, patiently observing and waiting for a moment of vulnerability. When a young animal is slow and pushed away from the protective circle, the formation immediately changes. Two wolves close on either side, maintaining constant pressure but keeping a safe distance. The young animal reacts fiercely, turning and butting in desperation. However, without support from behind, small retreats accumulate into a major disadvantage. The moment of separation from the pack is the breaking point, where the chances of survival rapidly diminish under the relentless pressure of the wolf pack. The hunt ends not just with brute force, but with a strategy of isolating the target. For bison, their position within the herd is their most important defense. When that bond is broken, the natural balance shifts in an irreversible direction. In the frigid tundra, caribou survive by moving in large herds and maintaining a steady pace over long distances. When maintaining a tight formation, they create a uniform movement, making it difficult for predators to pinpoint a specific target. This synchronicity is their most important defense against any ambush. The wolf pack begins by observing from a distance, keeping the wind at a favorable angle and observing the herd's rhythm. As the chase accelerates, the caribou herd panics and their formation gradually widens. A young caribou slows down for even a brief moment, and this slowdown makes it a prime target. The wolves accelerate simultaneously, closing in from behind and sides, maintaining constant pressure to force the young caribou to expend more energy. The mother reindeer calls out loudly, but cannot turn back once the distance has widened too much. The hunt ends quickly to minimize losses, relying on the prey's small mistakes rather than superior strength. In nature, many hunts are decided by a slower than normal pace. When formation is broken, the advantage shifts to the patient and wait-ahead hunter. Sometimes, the decisive moment lasts only a single step. In every encounter, wolves reveal that their pursuit is driven by unity, patience, and precise judgment rather than simple aggression. Not every target is vulnerable, but once its advantage is broken, the balance begins to change. On these landscapes, coordinated effort and well-timed action often surpass sheer size. And through each moment captured, the constant force behind it all is the instinct to endure. In the natural world, encounters between animal species sometimes happen very quickly, but carry significant risks. Each species possesses its own survival strategy, ranging from strength and speed to patience and coordination. When those advantages clash directly, even a few seconds can determine the outcome. These rare clips capture some of the most remarkable confrontations ever recorded in nature. On the African savannas, impalas typically move in herds to remain alert to surrounding dangers. An adult weighs approximately 90 to 160 pounds and relies on quick reflexes to maintain a safe distance. But as the herd becomes distracted while grazing, a low, close to the ground movement begins to silently approach. Hidden in a low furrow, a leopard lies still, observing. It patiently waits and only moves when the distance becomes favorable. When an impala gets closer than it's safe, the leopard leaves its hiding place and accelerates in a brief approach. The distance quickly narrows in just seconds. The impala tries to change direction to create space, but the approach is too close. The chase ends quickly, and the leopard gains control. Leopards don't rely solely on speed. Their greatest advantage lies in their ability to observe for extended periods and choose the right moment to act. On the savanna, patience and precise planning often prove more effective than a prolonged chase. In many areas of the African savanna, wild dogs often dig burrows in open fields to raise their very young cubs. An adult pack may constantly move around the area to observe and protect. But when most of the attention is focused on the cubs at the mouth of the burrow, a greater danger begins to approach from afar. A male lion suddenly emerges from the edge of the grassland and quickly accelerates toward the burrow. It dashes across the open space in seconds and reaches a cub before the wild dogs can fully react. Warning cries immediately erupt, and the adults begin running around to create distance. The situation becomes more tense when several other lions also approach the area. The wild dogs are forced to gradually retreat from their original position to avoid greater risk. In such moments, young individuals are always the most vulnerable. Encounters between predators are often more than just about food. Often, it's a competition for territory and control of living space. On the vast savanna, a single moment of carelessness can change the entire course of events. On the dry grasslands of Africa, spotted hyenas are renowned for their pack coordination and remarkable endurance. An adult typically weighs between 120 and 190 pounds and possesses jaws strong enough to handle tough bones. As multiple individuals gather around leftover food, the competitive atmosphere between predators becomes palpable. The leftover food from a previous hunt lies on the ground, and the hyena pack quickly approaches to take advantage of the opportunity. From the edge of the grassland, a male lion emerges and moves closer, immediately drawing the attention of the entire hyena pack. It approaches swiftly and holds off a hyena for the first few seconds, creating a sudden tension. Almost immediately, warning cries erupt. Many hyenas returned to the center of the area, approaching and putting pressure on their fellow to move out of the disadvantageous position. The two sides maintained a short distance for several tense minutes. Finally, thanks to the coordinated efforts of the entire pack, the endangered hyena was moved out of the area. Lions still have a clear advantage in direct confrontation. However, hyenas possess the advantage of numbers and pack cohesion. This is why they rarely abandon their pack when in danger. On the savanna, individual strength is important, but the coordination of the entire pack is sometimes the deciding factor. In many open woodlands and grasslands of Africa, leopards typically live and hunt alone. An adult male leopard weighs around 110 to 200 pounds and relies on its quietness and tree-climbing ability to avoid major conflict. But when an individual inadvertently moves into an area controlled by lions, the familiar tranquility quickly disappears. From the front, a lion detects the leopard's presence and immediately approaches. The distance closes rapidly, forcing the leopard to react at a disadvantage. The encounter is brief, and the leopard cannot maintain a safe distance from its larger opponent. After only a short time, the leopard is severely injured and forced to retreat from the area. Without its pack to assist, it must find its own way away from the lion's territory. In this confrontation, the lion clearly has the advantage, being a predator with superior size and strength. For solitary predators, serious injury is often a significant risk. Without a pack to support them, their ability to hunt and survive can be drastically reduced. On the savanna, sometimes even a small territorial mistake can completely alter the chances of survival. Along the jungle coasts of the Americas, jaguars are the top predators in the region. An adult can weigh from 150 to over 250 pounds and usually lives entirely alone. Each controls its own territory, so when two adults accidentally meet, tension quickly builds. On a sandy beach, two male jaguars approach and begin observing each other. Both maintain a short distance, move slowly, and demonstrate their strength with cautious strides. Neither wants to yield territory immediately, and within moments, the confrontation becomes tense. After a short while, one begins to retreat a few steps and lower its stance. This is a clear signal that it chooses to avoid direct conflict. The remaining animal held its position on the sand, and the confrontation ended when its opponent gradually left the area. In the world of solitary predators, avoiding injury is often just as important as winning. A serious wound can impair hunting ability for weeks. Therefore, in many cases, retreating at the right time is the key to long-term survival. On the African savanna, buffaloes are one of the most defensive herbivores. A mature individual can weigh nearly 1,500 pounds and usually move closely together in a herd to minimize risk. But when one temporarily separates from the group, the familiar balance immediately shifts. Several lions begin to approach silently, gradually closing the distance. The buffalo reacts quickly, turning repeatedly and using powerful kicks to maintain space. The lions are not in a hurry. They patiently pursue, applying steady pressure to gradually weaken their opponent.
Come straight here, toss and fuck them on.
The noise causes the nearby buffalo herd to return. Some charge, forcing the lions to retreat temporarily to avoid a direct collision. But when the buffalo realize their comrade is no longer standing and gradually withdrawing, the lions return to the area they left empty. Wild buffalo are known for their strong herd-protecting instincts, with many individuals willing to return to support their fellow buffalo in danger. However, lions often succeed through perseverance and group coordination. On the vast savanna, outcomes are often determined by endurance and collective strategy. In the arid lands of Africa and South Asia, the cobra is one of the reptiles that many other animals fear. Its potent venom and rapid attack reflexes give it a formidable position in the ecosystem. However, there is a smaller species that frequently dares to confront it, and this encounter begins when a mongoose approaches. The mongoose constantly moves around the snake, maintaining a very short distance, but always ready to dodge. Each time the snake extends its head, the mongoose instantly retreats and returns to another position. After several probing attempts, it suddenly lunges forward, seeking an opportunity to approach from behind its opponent's head. In the decisive moment, the snake quickly slips out of the encirclement and withdraws from the area. The confrontation ends when both separate, with neither completely in control of the situation. Alertness and quick reflexes help the snake avoid great danger. Encounters between mongooses and snakes often depend on speed and timing. Mongooses are known for their very quick reflexes and often have the upper hand in many similar situations. But in nature, just a moment's delay can completely change the outcome. In the vast expanse of the African savanna, life operates according to clear rules. Lions may be at the top of the predatory chain, but they don't always hold the upper hand. From group hunts to territorial disputes, every situation demands precise decision-making. The following sections document moments when instinct and strategy intersect. At the boundary where the two territories met, the air grew heavy before any movement occurred. Two male lions stood a short distance apart, their eyes locked on each other. Both understood that this encounter would decide their fate. A few seconds of silence passed before the tension flared up. They lunged at each other with all their might. Pushes and pincers followed, neither willing to back down immediately. Roars rang out and then ceased. The lionesses approached, moving around the perimeter, watching closely but not intervening. The pace began to shift as one lost its advantage. Its steps slowed, its defensive distance weakened. The other held the upper hand for a few decisive moments. Finally, the weaker lion turned and retreated, accepting its fate and leaving the area. The conflict ended as quickly as it began. There was no prolonged chase. In nature, victory lies not only in strength, but also in the ability to force the opponent to yield. And in this confrontation, persistence determined the outcome. Amidst the tall grass, swaying gently in the afternoon breeze, the serval is a small, solitary predator that hunts with keen hearing and precise leaps. It moves quickly and usually avoids larger predators. However, as space shrinks and escape routes disappear, that advantage is no longer enough to protect it. Two lionesses approach from different directions, gradually cornering the serval. The small cat tries to find an opening to escape, constantly changing direction to avoid being blocked. But the encirclement closes quickly. One lion lunges forward, the other holds its position behind, making the size difference apparent. The attack ends quickly. The serval cannot maintain a safe distance from the simultaneous pressure from two sides. The difference in size gives it almost no chance of survival. In nature, when faced with an opponent superior in strength and numbers, the ability to escape is sometimes the only thing that can determine one's fate. On an open dirt road across the savannah, a pack of African wild dogs moved in neat rows, possibly searching for a new home. They are known for their ability to hunt in groups and their considerable stamina. However, crossing open territory within lion territory always carries inherent risks, and that risk quickly materialized. Two young male lions spotted the pack of dogs from a distance and immediately approached. The wild dogs reacted by scattering and fleeing. In the chaos, a puppy lagged behind. The distance between it and the pack widened as the lions accelerated their pursuit. The chase ended when the lions caught up with the cub. After a brief attack, the puppy could not survive. Lions do not hunt wild dogs for food in most cases, but they eliminate competitors when the opportunity arises. In the wild, the weaker or slower individuals are often the first targets. Competition between predators isn't just about food, it's also about territorial control. And in this encounter, the advantage lies with the stronger one. On the edge of a shallow lake, still bearing the footprints of herds, the African buffalo is considered one of the most resilient animals of the savanna. A mature male can weigh nearly 1,800 pounds, with thick muscles in its neck and a pair of horns forming a solid shield. When standing in a herd, they form a strong defensive line. But when separated, the pressure quickly increases. A group of large lions began to encircle it from multiple directions. The buffalo sensed danger and proactively moved into the lake to buy time, keeping its body submerged. The lions did not rush to attack. They kept their distance, patiently observing and blocking escape routes on the shore. When the buffalo attempted to silently leave the water, the encirclement tightened immediately. The attack was organized. Some lions cut off its escape route. Others closed in from both sides. They rely on their body weight to slow down the prey's movement. The continuous coordination gradually puts the buffalo at a disadvantage. After several minutes of resistance, it can no longer maintain its strength under the collective pressure. The outcome favors the lion pride. The hunt clearly demonstrates the difference between individual strength and group tactics. A single adult buffalo can put up a strong fight, but when faced with sustained coordination, the balance shifts. In the wild, hunting in packs is crucial when conquering large prey. Hiding in low branches near the edge of the savanna, leopards are solitary hunters with excellent climbing abilities and quick reflexes. An adult typically weighs between 90 and 160 pounds and relies on stealth for survival. They avoid direct confrontation with larger predators, especially lions. But this time, their safe distance gradually disappeared as a pride of lions approached. About 12 lions surrounded the leopard from multiple directions, leaving no clear gaps. The leopard left the tree and sought escape through narrow gaps. It turned to fight back when cornered, trying to maintain distance with speed and agility. However, pressure from multiple directions narrowed its maneuvering space. The attack lasted nearly 30 minutes. The lions took turns closing in, maintaining constant pressure instead of all attacking at once. In the wild, lions often eliminate leopards to reduce competition for food. Under the relentless pressure of the entire pride, the leopard gradually weakened and ultimately could not survive. The outcome illustrates the disparity between solitary strategy and collective strength. The leopard possessed skill and speed, but not enough to fight against a large group of lions. In a harsh, competitive environment, numerical superiority can determine survival. And in this confrontation, the balance tipped heavily in favor of the lions. In an open clearing near the burrow's mouth, the warthogs were huddled together, foraging cautiously. Adult warthogs could defend themselves with their curved tusks and their ability to quickly run toward their burrow. The young usually stayed close to their mothers, ready to dash toward the exit if danger arose. But in the low grass in the distance, a lion was silently observing. The lion chose the moment when the warthogs dispersed. It suddenly accelerated from its ambush position, heading straight for the young. The entire herd panicked and ran toward the burrow. One warthog calf was caught near the burrow entrance in a swift leap. The safe distance vanished in seconds. The chase ended quickly. Lions often target the young because they are easier to subdue and reduce the risk of injury. The adult warthog didn't have time to turn around and change the situation. The outcome favored the predator. This incident illustrates the crucial element of target selection in every hunt. Faced with fast prey that has an escape route, the lion must make a precise decision in an instant. In the wild, this calculation helps maintain a survival advantage. In the vast open expanse of the savanna, wildebeest move in large herds to reduce the risk of attack. They rely on their numbers and quick reflexes to spot predators from afar. When standing close together, the entire herd forms a moving, inaccessible mass. But at the edge of the herd, a lioness has begun to close the distance slowly, step by step. The lioness lowers her body and advances little by little, trying to reduce the distance before being detected. When close enough, she accelerates suddenly. The entire herd of wildebeest scatters in panic in many directions. The targeted wildebeest tries to maintain its pace, but the lioness maintains a steady pursuit and closes in from behind. The chase ends quickly when the prey is brought down. Soon after, other members of the lion pride appear from various directions to share the spoils. The coordination and ambush tactics have proven effective. A successful hunt can feed many individuals in the pride. Teamwork, patient approach, and attacking at the right time are crucial factors. In a harsh environment, this coordination helps lions maintain their position. Lions have long been considered the top predators at the apex of the food chain. Speed, muscle, and experience give them control in many chases. However, nature does not operate with absolute certainty. Even a small deviation in distance or environment can change the outcome. And it is these failed hunts that reveal the true limits of power on the savannah. On the vast savanna, lions are seen as symbols of strength and control. Their sturdy bodies, quick reflexes, and ability to coordinate as a pride give them an advantage in many hunts. A mature lion can accelerate rapidly over short distances and maintain pressure long enough to disrupt its prey. However, not every hunt ends successfully. High temperatures, miscalculations of distance, or unexpected reactions from prey can change the course of events in seconds. In nature, even the top predators face their own limitations. Submerged, almost motionless, the crocodile patiently waited in absolute silence. Only its eyes and nose surfaced, enough to observe any movement along the shore. Its advantage lay not in speed, but in prolonged stillness and the ability to choose the right moment. When the lion lowered its head close to the water's surface to drink, the distance between the two species shortened without warning. The water remained calm, without a single unusual ripple. Then, in a brief moment, the crocodile sprang up from below with a precise lunge, shattering the stillness. The lion recoiled instinctively, trying to maintain its balance and escape the danger zone. The surprise caused it to lose the initiative from the very first second. Realizing it was at a disadvantage, it quickly moved away from the water's edge to avoid being pulled deeper. The encounter ended almost immediately, with the crocodile gaining the upper hand. In the aquatic environment, patience and the element of surprise create a decisive advantage. Nature constantly shifts the balance according to the environment, not according to the reputation of the predator. Hidden among the low grass, the cobra maintained a state of heightened vigilance. Its instincts relied not on muscular strength, but on its venom, and the ability to accurately spray venom at short distances. Every movement ahead was monitored, waiting for the safe boundary to be crossed. A male lion approached out of curiosity, walking slowly but confidently. When the distance narrowed too much, the snake immediately raised its hood and sprayed venom directly into the lion's eyes. The intense burning pain disoriented the lion for a few brief seconds. In a chaotic reflex, the lion tried to extend its leg to get closer. The snake responded with a quick defensive bite. The venom began to take effect. The lion's body convulsed slightly, and its movements became uncontrolled. Recognizing the disadvantage, the lion was forced to retreat to avoid more serious harm. The confrontation ended with the larger predator losing ground. In nature, long-range defenses and high precision can neutralize even species that are overwhelmingly larger. On the hot, dry sand, Oryx displayed a kind of strength that came from composure. It didn't panic at the perceived danger, but remained in place, head lowered and horns pointing straight forward. Its instinct was active defense, ready to retaliate rather than flee. A lion approached, intending to find an angle to approach from behind. But each step to flank was met with Oryx's close-range maneuvering, leaving no weak point exposed. When the lion attempted to accelerate for a moment, the horns immediately thrust forward, forcing it to stop to avoid a direct collision. The dangerous distance made the lion hesitate. A wound from the sharp horns could render it incapable of hunting for weeks. After a few tense seconds, it retreated and abandoned its attack. In nature, the pressure of direct risk is sometimes strong enough to completely halt a hunt.
Fighting.
At the edge of a narrowed waterhole during the dry season, the pack of wild dogs moves as a unified entity. Their collective intelligence is evident in their synchronized steps and the way they maintain a stable arc formation. Each individual acts not for themselves, but for the safety and benefit of the pack, always ready to assist when a member is in danger. When an old lioness enters the area to reassert her control, the atmosphere immediately changes. The dogs do not scatter. They hold their positions, constantly adjusting to the lioness's movements and creating pressure with their voices and rhythmic shifts. Suddenly, the lioness accelerates and charges into the formation, subduing one individual for a brief moment.
Fighting.
But the dog's reaction is almost instantaneous. The surrounding individuals simultaneously close in, harassing from multiple directions and forcing the lioness to constantly turn to defend herself. The relentless pressure caused it to lose its advantage. Eventually, the lion was forced to release its target and retreat from the center of the water source. The confrontation ended with the lion's retreat, despite its superior individual strength. The lion's pack tactics and strong teamwork neutralized that advantage in just seconds. In nature, where each individual lives for the pack, collective strength can overcome even the might of a larger predator. On long migrations across the savanna, buffalo herds form a protective structure around their young and weaker individuals. Their migratory instincts not only help them find new pastures, but also maintain a tight formation to minimize the risk of attack. Each movement involves positional adjustments, creating a flexible defense system even while advancing. When a lion suddenly accelerates from the side of the herd, its target is a mother buffalo walking alongside her calf. The initial charge creates a momentary disruption. The mother buffalo immediately turns, lowers her head, and maintains distance between the predator and her calf, forcing the lion to change its approach. That resistance is only the beginning. From the front and sides, other adult buffalo quickly turn around. They advance in unison, closing the space and putting pressure on the lion. The tide turned when the predator no longer had safe space to continue its attack, and was eventually forced to retreat. The confrontation ended with the lion's defeat. The collective strength and synchronized reaction of the buffalo herd completely reversed the situation in a short time. In nature, when the protection of offspring triggers the instinct for solidarity, numbers can turn a hunt into a risk for the aggressor. In the wide and deep current, hippos demonstrate their strength in unexpected ways. Their heavy bodies are agile in the water. Their wide jaws and quick reflexes allow them to control the space around them. When approached too closely, their instincts shift from passive to active in an instant. A lone lion ventures into the middle of the river, intending to approach. But instead of retreating, the surrounding hippos begin to close in, moving decisively and relentlessly, pressing closer. The lion turns for escape, but the space narrows. Isolated and without companions to support them, the lion is forced to jump into deeper water to escape the increasing pressure. It swims rapidly towards the shore, while the hippos continue to advance to drive it away. The initiative is entirely with the seemingly docile herbivore. The encounter ends with the lion's retreat. In their controlled environment, hippos are not only defensive, but also ready to dominate. When mispositioned, even a predator can be at a disadvantage. In the open field still marked by the footprints of many species, the hyena pack had silently established its formation. They weren't in a hurry, but rather gradually expanded their ranks, maintaining distance and observing carefully. The pressure was built slowly, like a tightening noose. When the lone lioness entered, she immediately accelerated, intending to break through the encirclement. The initial charge created a brief gap for a few seconds. But as soon as she turned to counterattack, other directions closed in, and the encirclement deepened. Attacks followed one another. Several hyenas approached from behind, attempting to bite her tail to disrupt her movement, while others blocked her escape route. The lioness reacted fiercely, but each counterattack made her breathing heavier and her movements slower. After being gradually worn down minute by minute, the lioness could no longer maintain the initiative. It was forced to retreat to avoid being pushed further. The confrontation ended with the individual at a disadvantage. In nature, when multi-directional pressure is maintained continuously, muscular strength does not always determine the outcome. In nature, lions don't always maintain the upper hand. There are confrontations where opponents proactively approach, maintain distance, and control the situation from the outset. When tactics are deployed at the right time, the tide can turn very quickly. And from those situations, the story of how other species force lions to retreat begins to unfold. In shallow water, the hippo usually has the advantage from the start. A mature individual can weigh over 3,000 pounds, with a thick body and jaws wide enough to exert significant pressure. It remains submerged for most of the time, only exposing its eyes and nose to observe. This calmness masks a very quick reflex when intrusion occurs, and the water begins to stir slightly. Near shore, a lion moves low, maintaining distance and observing. It doesn't rush, choosing its approach angle and timing. When the distance is close enough, it accelerates and closes in on its target. But just as it approaches, the water ahead suddenly rises. The hippo leaps up from the water with great force and straight ahead. The first moment decides the outcome. The lion immediately turns, switches to a survival stance, and leaves the area. There is no counterattack, only a quick retreat to avoid risk. The seemingly calm surface of the water is where control can shift in an instant. A body hidden beneath the surface can decide the entire course of events when it acts unexpectedly. And it is this sudden change that forces the remaining prey to choose to leave in order to survive. Hyenas demonstrate remarkable social intelligence when operating in groups. They assign roles, maintain distance, and constantly exchange signals to coordinate. Each individual monitors the target's movement and reaction. When conditions are right, the group adjusts its position to gain an advantage without increasing risk. An old male lion strays from its familiar territory and loses its territorial advantage. It moves slowly, trying to maintain distance, while a group of hyenas begins to stalk in a circle. The approach steps are short and controlled, aimed at probing and applying pressure. As the distance narrows, one individual moves closer to test the lion's reaction. The lion turns and attempts to fight back at close range, but its declining physical condition slows its reaction. The hyenas maintain their encirclement and gradually increase the pressure, not rushing to finish the fight to minimize risk. The situation tilts in favor of the hyenas, forcing the lion to retreat. At that moment, another lion appeared, changing the situation and causing the hyenas to retreat. In the open space, the hyena pack maintained formation, and monitored their target's reaction in short bursts. Approaches were controlled, maintaining distance and increasing pressure rhythmically. When the position was close enough, the situation entered a decisive phase. On the savanna, giraffes maintain distance using their height and wide field of vision. Their tall bodies allow them to observe movements around them early. Their strong hind legs are ready to generate force when needed. Upon detecting approaching pressure, they can stop and switch to an active defensive posture. A lion begins stalking from behind the herd, moving low and maintaining a steady rhythm. It tracks its target during the chase, gradually depleting the opponent's energy. When the distance is close enough, it accelerates and leaps, attempting to reach the neck. The giraffe suddenly stops and slightly rotates its body to regain balance. Immediately afterward, it delivers a powerful and precise kick from its hind leg. The lion is struck and thrown back, unable to maintain its position. The attack stops at that moment. In this situation, a timely reaction can turn the tide completely. Giraffes don't need to chase. They just need to maintain distance and wait for the right moment. Lions don't continue to approach and retreat to avoid risk. When conditions are no longer favorable, the confrontation ends quickly. In the open field, the rhino maintained a stable position from the start. Its over 4,000-pound body, thick skin, and front horns helped it maintain a safe distance. It always faced the lion and adjusted its movements carefully. The distance was kept tight, leaving no weak points exposed. The lion began moving in circles to find a rear angle. It lowered its body and approached step by step to test the rhino's reaction. Each time it advanced, the rhino immediately turned and stepped forward to maintain distance. This movement was repeated many times, creating a prolonged state of tension. The lion found no opportunity to attack. It stopped and did not continue to approach due to the high risk. The rhino remained facing forward and did not allow itself to be approached from behind. After a while, the lion left the area. The rhino's victory went to it without a fight. In the tranquil expanse of the grassland, a buffalo remained still, its heavy body stable as a solid block. Every movement was controlled, each breath slow and steady, as if waiting for something to happen. And it was in that silence that danger began to approach, step by step. Not far away, a lion lowered its body into the tall grass, minimizing any signs of movement. It advanced slowly, choosing its moment precisely. Then, suddenly, it lunged and approached its target. The buffalo staggered for a moment, but did not fall. Dust rose, and the commotion began to attract attention around it. The entire herd of buffalo turned their heads towards the point of impact. At first, there was hesitation, a brief pause to observe. Then, One charged straight in. That action immediately triggered a reaction from the entire herd. One by one they advanced, horns pointing forward, hooves pounding the ground. The lion didn't retaliate. It lowered its body, avoiding escalation. In just seconds, the situation changed. The lion was forced to retreat under overwhelming pressure. In this environment, individual strength doesn't determine the outcome. Buffaloes survive through observation and collective reaction. One movement can change everything. A controlled approach can quickly turn into a coordinated counterattack. In nature, survival often belongs to those who don't stand alone. In the aquatic environment, crocodiles demonstrate highly effective coordination and observation skills. They maintain a low position below the water's surface, exposing only their eyes and nose to track. Every small movement of their prey is noted, and their distance is adjusted accordingly. When the time is right, they approach closely without making any obvious signs. A lion cub moves near the water's edge and struggles to stay afloat. It loses its agility, and its reaction time slows down. From underwater, a crocodile approaches slowly. The distance is only a few feet, but the danger is not yet apparent. A swift leap from underwater occurs. The crocodile approaches and pulls the prey down immediately. The adult lion stands on the shore but cannot intervene due to environmental limitations. The situation ends quickly after the ambush. In this context, the key factor lies in the approach and the very close proximity. The crocodile maintained its position underwater to control the situation. The lion cub reacted slowly due to inexperience. Without intervention from the shore, the situation ended quickly. In food-rich areas, elephants react quickly to any unusual movement. Their over 10,000-pound bodies allow them to advance straight and maintain distance from intruders. They constantly monitor their surroundings and don't ignore unusual signals. When the distance is reduced, they immediately become active. A lion is feeding, focusing on its prey and lowering its guard. It's not hunting, but merely maintaining its position near the food source. From a distance, an elephant appears and moves straight in its predetermined direction. The distance closes rapidly, and the lion only realizes it's very close. The first charge occurs immediately. The lion doesn't retaliate, abandoning its prey and retreating. The elephant continues to advance, impacting the prey to break its grip. There is no resistance, and the hold on the prey is broken. In this situation, the elephant doesn't need direct combat to gain the upper hand. A quick approach and breaking free from control is enough to decide the outcome. Lions prioritize safety over food. When conditions are no longer suitable, leaving is a necessary option for survival. In nature, strength doesn't always guarantee control. Each species reacts differently, depending on the environment, the time, and its adaptability. These situations demonstrate that when conditions change, the outcomes change as well. And it is in those moments that the true limits of a predator are clearly revealed.